Though no one can go back and make a brand new start, anyone can start from now and make a brand new ending. With this motivational quote, a very good morning to all my dear students. I hope that you all are in good health. This is Shreya Jadhav and I welcome you all to my e-learning channel. Today we are going to do English Grade 9 Supplementary Reading 2 The Adventure of Toto, written by Ruskin Bond. So before starting with the reading and explanation of the chapter, let us know something about the author. Ruskin Bond, born on 19th May 1934, is an Indian author of British descent. He lives in Mussoorie, India. The Indian Council for Child Education has recognized his role in the growth of children's literature in India. He was awarded the Sahitya Akademi Award in 1992 for Our Trees Still Grow in Dehra, his novel in English. He was awarded the Padma Shri in 1999 and the Padma Bhushan in 2014. Introduction for answers. Dear students, whenever you write down your answer, whether it is in your fair book or whether you are appearing for test or for your examination purpose, always remember that you are supposed to start your answer with introduction first. This creates a really good impact on the paper checker. So, let us begin. Prose name, The Adventure of Toto. Author's name, Ruskin Bond. Genre, short story. Summary. Have you ever had a baby monkey as a pet? Toto is a baby monkey and his bond with grandmother could finally be seen. So, we are going to learn a really interesting chapter regarding a baby monkey. So, let's not waste our time more and let us go through the reading and explanation of the chapter. The Adventures of Toto. Have you ever had a baby monkey as a pet? Toto is a baby monkey. Let's find out whether he is mischievous or docile. Grandfather bought Toto from a Tonga driver for the sum of 5 rupees. The Tonga driver used to keep the little red monkey tied to a feeding trough. And the monkey looked so out of place there that grandfather decided he would add the little fellow to his private zoo. Toto was a pretty monkey. His bright eyes sparkled with mischief beneath deep-set eyebrows, and his teeth, which were pearly white, were very often displayed in a smile that frightened the life out of elderly Anglo-Indian ladies. But his hands looked dried up, as though they had been pickled in the sun for many years. Yet his fingers were quick and wicked, and his tail, while adding to his good looks, grandfather believed a tail would add to anyone's good looks, also served as a third hand. He would use it to hang from the branch, and it was capable of scooping up any delicacy that might be out of reach of his hands. So over here, the grandfather is bringing Toto he is purchasing Toto from a Tonga driver. He is paying 5 rupees to him. Tonga driver used to keep this little red monkey tied up. And the monkey looked so out of the place, means he didn't belong over there. So grandfather thought that he would include this little monkey to his private zoo. Toto was really pretty. He was having really big bright eyes, and because of that thing, eventually he used to make plenty of mischiefs. And he used to show his bright teeth, which often frightened the elderly Anglo-Indian ladies, but they were pearly white. He was having dried up hands, which might have been pickled or roasted because of the sun tan. It looked as if they were so many years old, but still his fingers were very quick, and his tail was adding to really good looks, because grandfather thought that this tail could be really good for his personality. Why? Because it is served as third hand. He could hang on the branch with his tail, and he could grab anything from both his hand. So this was advantage for this small little baby red monkey whose name was Toto. Grandmother always fussed when grandfather brought home some new bird or animal. So it was decided that Toto's presence should be kept a secret from her until she was in a particular good mood. Grandfather and I put him away in a little closet opening into my bedroom wall, where he was tied securely, or so we thought, to a peg fastened into a wall. A few hours later, when grandfather and I came back to release Toto, we found that the walls, which had covered with some ornamental papers chosen by grandfather, now stood out as naked brick and plaster. The peg of the wall had been wrenched from its socket, and my school blazer, which had been hanging there, was in shreds. So now what happened over here? Grandmother would dislike, means she used to fuss, she used to complain a lot that grandfather used to bring all sort of birds and animals, whatever he would like. So over here grandfather decided that he will hide Toto for a certain time duration. And when the grandmother is prepared, at that time only grandfather would bring Toto into the picture in front of the grandmother. So he had securely tied Toto in the bedroom, in a bedroom wall. It was being tied up. And the belt was also fastened, means it was tight to hold him there. After a few hours, when grandfather and the author went over there to release Toto, what they saw? That there was some beautiful ornamentation done, some beautiful wall painting, or we can say wall drawings were done. Some plaster sort of thing was put up on the wall. But that disappeared, and what was being seen? That there were only bricks. Moreover to that, there was one blazer lying down of the author. That blazer was also now in shreds, and the wall was also wrenched from its socket. I wondered what grandmother would say, but grandfather didn't worry. He seemed pleased with Toto's performance. "He's clever," said grandfather. "Given time, I'm sure he would have tied the torn pieces of your blazer into a rope and made his escape from the window." The author was really very worried that what grandmother would say, because they were supposed to hide it from grandmother, and it was author's, we can say, no, school blazer, and the whole wall was also destroyed. But grandfather was really very pleased of the performance or the act which was done by Toto. Grandfather told that he is really very clever. He was given certain time, and if more time was given to him, see, in the present given time, he torn the blazer, yes, into pieces. If more time was given to him, he could have made a rope from those torn pieces of blazer, and he would make a rope of it, and he could have escaped from the window as well. So this little red baby monkey Toto was really very quick and smart. His presence in the house still a secret. Toto was now transferred to a big cage in the servants' quarters, where a number of grandfather's pets lived very sociably together. A tortoise, a pair of rabbits, a tame squirrel, and for a while my pet goat. But the monkey wouldn't allow any of his companions to sleep at night. So, grandfather, who had to leave Dehradun next day to collect his pension in Saharanpur, decided to take him along. So, now what happened? Now it was not possible for him to keep in the house because Toto used to spoil plenty of things in the home. So the grandfather decided that now he would be transferred into a big cage and would be kept in the servants' quarter, where other animals of grandfather were staying. Over here we have a tortoise, pair of rabbits, tame squirrel, and even the author's pet goat. And now one more pet was added, and that was Toto. But the monkey would not allow any of the animals to sleep at night because they were harassing. He was harassing all of them a lot. So as grandfather was supposed to leave the next day Dehradun, and he was supposed to go and collect his pension in Saharanpur. So the grandfather told that he would be taking the monkey along with him. Unfortunately, I could not accompany grandfather on that trip, but he told me about it afterwards. A big black canvas kit bag was provided for Toto. This, with some straw at the bottom, became his new abode. When the bag was closed, there was no escape. Toto could not get his hand through the opening, and the canvas was too strong for him to bite his way through. His efforts to get out only had the effect of making the bag roll about on the floor or occasionally jump into the air, an exhibition that attracted a curious crowd on overlookers on Dehradun railway platform. So now what happened? The author was not able to accompany grandfather on the particular trip, but the grandfather told him the whole story afterwards. And the Toto was tied up in a big black canvas in a kit bag with some straws at the bottom, and that was his new place to stay for a certain time duration. And the bag was closed, so there was no escape from where he could move. Moreover to that, he was not able to open the chain by himself because he didn't know how to do it. Moreover to that, the canvas was also very strong. So it was not possible for him to bite it and to move or escape from there. And all his efforts were in vain. But certainly, few of the effects which were seen, that the bag would start rolling by itself, or we can say that occasionally that the bag would jump in the air, and this created plenty of attention on the onlookers, means the people over there on the Dehradun railway station. Toto remained in the bag as far as Saharanpur, but while grandfather was producing his ticket at railway turnstile, Toto suddenly poked his head out of the bag and gave the ticket collector a wide grin. The poor man was taken aback, but with great presence of mind and much to grandfather's annoyance, he said, "Sir, you have a dog with you. You will have to pay for it accordingly." In vain did grandfather take Toto out of the bag. In vain did he try to prove that monkey do not qualify as a dog or even as a quadruped. Toto was classified as dog by the ticket collector, and 3 rupees was the sum handed over as his fare. So now what happened? Till they reached to Saharanpur, Toto was able to settle over there well. He was inside the bag only, but as the grandfather moved down to get ticket, he just poked out the head out of the bag, and he gave a big grinning smile to the ticket collector. Ticket collector was taken aback, the poor man, but the ticket collector told that you are supposed to pay as you are carrying a dog, and the grandfather was supposed to take out Toto from the bag, and he was supposed to prove to the ticket collector that this is not a dog, this is a monkey. But somehow ticket collector didn't consider that thing, and they were supposed to give fare of 3 rupees. Then grandfather, just to get his own way, took from his pocket our pet tortoise and said, "What must I pay for this, since you charge for all the animals?" The ticket collector looked closely at the tortoise, prodded it with his forefinger, gave grandfather a pleased and triumphant look, and said, "No charge, it is not a dog." So then, as grandfather was supposed to pay fare for Toto, grandfather also removed tortoise from his pocket, and they told that, "See, I have this also. I have a tortoise with me. Am I supposed to pay fare or money for the same?" At that time, ticket collector looked very closely to the tortoise, and he was really very pleased, and he gave a really good positive look and said that you're not supposed to pay any sort of charge for this tortoise. Why? Because it was not a dog. You can see over here the image is given of Saharanpur station. The grandfather is also there, and the ticket collector is also asking for the fare. You can see that over here in the bag, Toto is being seen, peeping out his head from the bag and taking aback the ticket collector. When Toto was finally accepted by grandmother, he was given a comfortable home in the stable, where he had a companion, the family donkey Nana. On Toto's first night in the stable, grandfather paid him a visit to see if he was comfortable. To his surprise, he found Nana without apparent cause, pulling at her halter and trying to keep her head as far as possible from bundle of hay. Grandfather gave Nana a slap across her haunches, and she jerked back, dragging Toto with her. he had fastened on her long ears with his sharp little teeth. Toto and Nana never became friends. So over here what happened? That incident of Saharanpur was over now, and Toto was finally accepted by grandmother. And after the acceptance, Toto was given a comfortable home in the stable along with a family donkey whose name was Nana. Now it was Toto's first night in the stable, so grandfather also came to pay a visit to him, whether he was in a comfortable duration or not. But at that time, what he saw that there was no friendship between Toto and Nana. They both were usually fighting, both were nagging each other, harassing each other, and Toto also showed he fastened up with his long ears and sharp little teeth. He was smiling. And then grandfather came to know that Toto and Nana could never become friends. A great treat for Toto during cold winter evening was a large bowl of warm water given him by grandmother for his bath. He would cunningly test the temperature with his hand, then gradually step into the bath, first one foot, then another, as he had seen me doing, until he was into the water up to his neck. So, what was the great treat for Toto? That was the cold winter evening. At that time, a large bowl of warm water was given by grandmother for bathing purpose. And he would know very cunningly used to check the temperature with his hand first, that whether it is not that hot enough. And then he would step one foot and then another. And then he would go into the large bowl of warm water. And he has seen this thing done by the grandfather also. Once comfortable, he would take the soap in his hands or feet and rub himself all over. When the water became cold, he would get out and run as quickly as he could to the kitchen fire in order to dry himself. If anyone laughed at him during this performance, Toto's feeling would be hurt and he would refuse to go on with his bath. One day, Toto nearly succeeded in boiling himself alive. Now what happened? Once he was not comfortable in that large bowl of hot water provided by grandmother, he would take soap in his hand and feet and he would rub himself all over. And as soon as the water became cold, he would run very quickly to the kitchen fire in order to dry himself. And if anyone would see and would laugh at this performance, then he would get really very hurt and annoyed. And then he would refuse to go with his bath. And one incident nearly took like that or happened like that Toto nearly boiled himself alive. A large kitchen kettle had been left on the fire to boil for tea, and Toto, finding himself with nothing better to do, decided to remove the lid. Finding the water just warm enough to bath, he got in, with his head sticking out from the open kettle. This was just fine for a while, until the water began to boil. Toto then raised himself a little, but finding it cold outside, sat down again. He continued hopping up and down for some time, until grandmother arrived and hauled him, half boiled, out of kettle. So now what funny incident took place, that in the large kitchen a kettle was kept over there to boil for the tea. And Toto, he had no other work to do, so he thought that I would remove the lid, and he decided that okay, he would sit inside. For a certain time it was very good for him. He enjoyed a lot that thing. But after a certain time duration, he realized that the water was really very cold for him. And then, as soon as he came out, he started feeling cold. So again, he went inside that boiling water, and he started getting up the nerves. And when the grandmother saw this thing, she was very much annoyed with the thing. Why? Because he grabbed him from there, and he was half boiled and the out of kitli. If there is a part of a brain especially devoted to mischief, that part was largely developed in Toto. He was always tearing things to pieces. Whenever one of my aunt came near him, he made every effort to get hold of her dress and tear a hole in it. Now, Toto was really mischievous. So, over here, if there was a special brain or a special place was given related to mischief, then this whole area, Toto was having the largest part developed. Why? Because he used to tear each and everything into pieces. Moreover to that, whenever his aunts used to come near Toto, what he would do, he would grab the dress and he would try to make tiny holes into the dress. One day at lunchtime, a large dish of pulao stood in the center of the dining table. We entered the room to find Toto stuffing himself with rice. My grandmother screamed, and Toto threw a plate at her. One of my aunts rushed forward and received a glass of water in the face. When grandfather arrived, Toto picked up the dish of pulao and made his exit through a window. We found him in the branches of the jackfruit tree, the dish still in his arms. He remained there all afternoon, eating slowly through the rice, determined on finishing every grain. And then, in order to spite grandmother, he would scream. He had screamed at him. He threw the dish down from the tree and chattered with delight when it broke into 100 pieces. So what happened? Another incident has been put forward, that one day during lunchtime, a dish of pulao was put on the dining table. As soon as everyone arrived over there, what they saw, that Toto was already sitting on the plate and he was trying to mess up with the plate of pulao. At that time, grandmother screamed and Toto threw one of the plate on her. One of her aunt, reached or rushed to get a glass of water, and that water was poured on her face because the pulao or the rice was really very hot. And when grandfather arrived over there, Toto pulled that dish of pulao and made his exit through the window. And then they found that he was sitting on the branches of jackfruit tree, and the dish was still in his arms. And he remained there the whole afternoon and slowly eating every single rice, was determined on finishing every grain. And then he screamed at him and he threw the dish down. Why? Because grandmother screamed at him. And because of this thing, he was annoyed. He was angry that why grandmother screamed at him. And when that plate broke into 100 pieces, he started chattering a lot. He started screaming with delight. Obviously, Toto was not a sort of pet we would keep for long. Even grandfather realized that we were not well to do and would not afford a frequent loss of dishes, clothes, curtains, and wallpaper. So grandfather found the Tonga driver and sold Toto back to him for only 3 rupees. So now at the end, what is happening? Now the grandfather realized that Toto was not a pet which could be tamed and kept for a longer time duration. And moreover to that, they could also not afford these kind of frequent losses like loss of dishes, clothes, curtains and wallpaper, because grandfather was supposed to look after the family as well as he was having other pets also. So they cannot afford that this one little baby Toto was not disturbing and distracting each and everyone over here. So at the end, grandfather decided to give back Toto to his original owner. And grandfather found Tonga driver from somewhere and he sold back Toto from where he had purchased. Grandfather purchased him for 5 rupees, but he gave back for 3 rupees only. And at the end, the grandfather and the whole family was, we can say, annoyed with this thing happening. So this is all about the chapter, the adventures of Toto, and you can see how mischievous Toto is and what sort of relationship Toto and grandmother are having. Yes, so this is all about the chapter. I hope you all have understood it. If you still find any doubt or queries, you can comment down in the comment section. Thank you everyone and have a nice day.